The following text is from William Shakespeare's play The Tempest, first performed in 1611. Miranda has lived on an island with her father Prospero since she was 3 years old. Prospero has stated that Miranda likely does not remember anything other than her life on the island. Miranda, 'tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me? Prospero, thou hadst and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst. So, reading Shakespearean English is very challenging. I'm going to try to say what this means in everyday English. She's wondering whether she can remember her super early childhood before she came to the island, and imagining that I guess she had sort of servants taking care of her. And then her dad says, yes, you did, but how do you remember that? What else can you see in your memory? I don't quite understand what he's getting at with these last 2 lines, but let's look at the answer choices. In the text, which point does Prospero most directly make about Miranda and her memories? Miranda's reminiscences about her early childhood have a melancholy quality that betrays her discontented view of her current circumstances. I don't think so, because that would be saying she's very sad and it shows that she feels dejected and sorrowful about living on the island. No, it doesn't mention that specifically. That could theoretically be true, but that's not stated. Miranda's doubts about the accuracy of one recollection of a place other than the island are clouding her judgment and seem to be making her reluctant to explore her recollection of traveling to the island. Her doubts about the accuracy? I don't think it's that one. Miranda's ability to summon details of an experience she had before arriving on the island suggests that she may also be able to summon details of her arrival on the island. Maybe. In fact, now that I think about it, that might be what the father is hinting at in these last lines. If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst. I think he's saying, perhaps you could remember something about how you got here. I think that's what that means. Miranda's impression of a scene is vague because she is remembering a scenario that she had daydreamed about as a child rather than a scenario that had occurred in reality. No, it's definitely not that one, because the father says, thou hadst and more, Miranda. So the father's confirming that at least part of her memory is correct. So it must be C, but it's a tough question.